All right, so the religion we are studying is Confucianism. The basic beliefs of Confucianism is it's a worldview, a social ethic, a political ideology, a scholarly tradition, and a way of life. So it's mostly based off of a scholarly text rather than a god. Uh, More basic beliefs is that it's based on ancestor worship, which are worshiping the spirits that came before you, so all your descendants and predecessors. And filial piety, which is your respect for your parents and ancestors, and all those people that came before you, and also the people that you currently live with in the world. The classification of Confucianism is it's an ethnic religion, which means it's a religion practiced by a primary ethnic group, in this case, Eastern Asians, and is basically an ideology, not really a religion, because it's not really a god. However, Confucius, the person who founded it, wasn't revered as a god, however, just as a man. And it's an ideology about respecting others, those who came before you, and using their wisdom and sharing your wisdom and morality with others.
Confucianism is made of five basic principles comprised of it. The first one is Jin. That is basically the sense of dignity we should give to all living things, especially other humans. Then we got Li. Li is considered to be the principle of gain, such as why people will actively seek out personal relationships and what people gain from society as a whole. And the idea is to consider what does each person individually and as a group gain when they interact with one another. Yi, that's the moral obligation to do good. This includes the ability to know and recognize what is right and wrong, and to feel what's right and wrong. Shao, that's the idea that your parents should be revered, respected, and honored since they brought you into this world. And bringing honor to the family and revering someone who has brought honor to you. Chi is a moral wisdom and knowledge of things right and wrong. Then Te is just the morals of authority. For example, like the government has authority if it can maintain economic and social order. Then Confucianism was founded by this guy called Master Kong. His first name is not Donkey. His name was Kongqiu. And then he was later named Confucius by followers. Then his writings were and his writings and teachings were followed for centuries, amassing his following.
Alright, the amount of people that practice it in the world today is about 0.09% of the world, or 6,111,056 people. It is practiced primarily in eastern China, in China, Korea, Vietnam, Taiwan, and a small portion of Australia due to immigration. The five classics are five pre-Qin Chinese books that form part of the traditional Confucian canon. Several of the texts were already prominent by the Warring States period. Mencius, the leading Confucian scholar of the time, regarded the Spring and Autumn Annals as being equally important as the semi-legendary chronicles of earlier periods. During the Western Han Dynasty, which adopted Confucianism as its official ideology, these texts became part of the state-sponsored curriculum. It was during this period that the texts first began to be considered together as a set collection, and to be called collectively the Five Classics. The first one is the Classic of Poetry, a collection of 305 poems divided into 160 folk songs, 105 festal songs sung at court ceremonies, and 40 hymns and eulogies sung at sacrifices to heroes and ancestral spirits of the royal house. Then comes the Book of Documents, a collection of documents and speeches alleged to have been written by rulers and officials of the early Zhou period and before. It is possibly the oldest Chinese narrative and may date from the 6th century BC. It includes examples of early Chinese prose. The third is the Book of Rites, describes ancient rites, social forms, and court ceremonies. The version studied today is a reworked version compiled by scholars in the 3rd century BC rather than the original text, which is said to have been edited by Confucius himself. Next is the Book of Changes. The book contains a divination system comparable to Western geomancy or the West African Ifa system. In Western cultures and modern East Asia, it is widely used for this purpose. Spring and Autumn Annals is a history of the state of Lu, Confucius' native state.